Hi, everyone. This is Kerim with Solar Academy. I am here today with Cole Ashman of Pila Energy. Cole, thanks for making the time. And I'm super excited to talk about Pila because I've been aware of you guys for probably a quarter or two now. And I've just looking at your website, looks like an amazing new product that is coming to the market. And your background, the whole product idea, everything looks super impressive. And so thanks for making the time and telling us about your story and your vision. And yeah, let's dive into it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So where I would like to first start is go back as far as you like. Tell me a little bit about where you're coming from and where you want to go. And I mean, talk about your experiences at Tesla, Span, and starting Pila. But if you like, touch on those experiences when you were young, that drives you as well. So yeah,
Okay,
let's
we'll go all the way back, but I'll keep it brief. It's a
we can,
story I've
we can
told.
turn it into a therapy session too. Like
Yeah, right. Well,
the real old stuff that drives you.
yeah,
We
you know,
don't need to go that far, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
exactly. Well, for me, it really does go back quite a ways. I think this idea that we now kind of call resilience in this space, but this idea of like protecting your family, having a self-sufficient way to deal with outages and the rest was ingrained, at an early age. Grew up with generator, lived in the Gulf South in New Orleans, Katrina, all of these experiences, you know, set a hook for me to understand the energy system and to try and through my studying engineering, like just get a picture into this invisible world that surrounds us and literally keeps the lights on.
Mm,
um, Through all that, I found myself at Tesla working on the residential energy products team, so Powerwall and the full balance of system there. um,
mm,
was able to kind of travel globally across the states, but also Europe and Australia and Japan and these other markets to understand really how to build products that scale globally, to bring energy resilience, but also energy intelligence into
mm,
homes in an easier way. And
yeah.
Tesla was a really continues to be a leader in this space because they both build products exceptionally well and deploy products, right? So they're
Yeah.
they're a builder and an installer, and that's forced Tesla to lead when it comes to kind of installation soft costs, solving the little headaches on site that add up, and it's where a number of these innovations from the backup gateways, which I worked on, and meter socket adapters, and incremental improvements to solar inverters. Incredible experience there. I then went on to work on the product team and lead hardware product at Span, smart electrical
Hmm.
panel manufacturer for a number of years. From the early journey there of 10 people trying to figure out how to get the first product together and what a smart panel really should look like, all the way through three generations of smart panel and all the software and integrations with the home microgrid, with EV charging, bringing all of that awesome data into homeowners' hands.
Yeah.
And obviously, those are fantastic products, and I tell everyone that if you can get them. You won't regret it. But I think there's this gap that needs to be addressed in accessibility, and that's really where Pila started.
Mm,
We are the solution that's not just for the homeowner, but also for the renter, which can be a residential renter, it can be the mom and pop shop on restaurant on the corner that is also suffering with outages and high power bills and rents their space. Um, and our view is we need batteries everywhere. We need to go quickly, and the way to do that is make it easier to deploy. So I'm sure we'll talk more about the product, but that's my background and the lead in
yeah.
into this whole thing that is Pila.
Yeah, so that gap that you've seen and obviously you're trying to fill, um, is what Pila fills. And so, what is that approach? What is like what makes Pila different than all the other batteries out there? Because essentially, it's another battery that can go into the home. Um, can you tell us a little bit about like what makes it different and how it complements the Tesla Powerwalls and the Spans of the world, and where is the
How does it
gap?
fit into all
Yeah,
of it? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, the first product that we've launched is this slim, sleek plug and play battery. It's 1.6 kilowatt hours, 2.4 kW in terms of power, and really designed to pair with essential appliances like your refrigerator, like window air conditioning units, sump pumps, water pumps, your home office. Think about it not as a big battery in the garage, but take that power wall, mentally divide it into
Hmm.
10 pieces and distribute that into the most interesting places in the home. And
Yeah.
when you do that, you can both lower the cost to access the system because people can start with one in their kitchen and scale it. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
smart speaker system, right? You start with one, you love it, you
Yeah.
expand it over time. Uh, and then it also brings more kind of data to the table. So fridge is a great example. It's not just power when you're using the Pila system, it's power and temperature inside of the fridge, and a relationship with that kind of digital twin of the fridge, understanding compressor behavior, all to tell you more interesting things than just here's the net usage of your home, over a period. So
Yeah.
think about it as the distributed solution that's plug and play, as
Yeah.
smart as a Powerwall style battery, but as accessible as some of these, incumbent like UPS systems, camping
Yeah.
batteries that typically don't really have a software experience and don't generally participate on the grid beyond just doing backup power.
Right. So then you mentioned the temperature in the fridge. Is Pila gonna be, or is it smart enough to communicate with the fridge, and like in the case of an outage, what that temperature is to deploy a portion of the energy, but not all of it, or how much to wait on, and so on and so forth? Like, is it
Yeah,
gonna
well,
be
okay,
like,
let's double click on the temperature piece because I mean, at the end of the day,
yeah,
like, it's not.
yeah,
I don't necessarily care, and the average person doesn't care that the X appliance is powered. They want to know that it's working, right? And for the
right,
fridge, that means is my food safe? And
yes,
power
which,
being powered is one proxy for that. But
right,
you can have compressor failure, fan failure. You can leave the door open. There are all these other variables, both during the outage and during the rest of the year. So
I,
temperature kind of
yeah,
gets right at that most critical
right,
piece. It allows you to actually talk about energy in a way and that people can
yeah,
relate to versus throwing kilowatt hour stats at them.
yeah,
The way that we solve it is really simple out of the gate. We do have some direct software integrations with fridges, but by and
mhm,
large, anyone who's owned a smart fridge can tell you like it's not the best software. So we decided to keep it simple. Think like an air tag, a
mhm,
small wireless sensor with a multi-year battery that you can chuck in the fridge and the freezer, pairs to our device, works with 100% of fridge, and it's kind of a dead simple solution. So you don't need a smart fridge.
right.
Ela is a tool to upgrade any fridge. And
Got it. So that air tag communicates to the battery,
that's
essentially.
right. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
it's a sensor
Yeah,
that talks to
that's
the
very
battery.
smart. Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about the 1.6 kilowatt hour size of the battery. Like, how much does an average home, like just a normal average fridge, consume in a single day, I guess is my question. Because if you have
Yeah.
solar and one Pila battery connected to your fridge, is your food gonna be safe?
Yeah, no surprise. That's about what an average fridge consumes in a day. A more
Okay.
efficient modern fridge or
Got it.
medium-sized fridge will be closer to 1 kilowatt
Yeah.
hour. Mini fridge much less. The built-in,
Yeah.
they can be upwards of two.
Yeah.
But
But this
generally,
is definitely enough to power
yeah,
it for most of the
for,
day.
for an average fridge,
Yeah.
it's 24 hours plus, and of course, there's the backup time prediction and the rest that you'll get. So it's not really guesswork during the outage.
And obviously, if you have a span or some smart meter and solar and you're powering the Pila battery, then you're good, at least for the food part.
Totally. And
And
we can
yeah,
talk to the solar system to charge up
yeah,
from let's say you have an Enphase system or whatever. We can, communicate with that.
yeah,
For energy savings and bill
yeah,
savings, it's AC coupled effectively in
yeah,
the same way
yeah,
that, a Powerwall 2 would be, or an Enphase battery. You can also plug in a temporary solar panel, and
yeah.
directly DC charge the battery. So in that
Oh, wow. Okay.
multi-day
With
outage,
like
you can
with an
refuel
extension cord
as
or
you go.
something like that, or what,
Yeah,
or with
yeah.
a MC connector to from the
Yeah, we've got a
solar.
few options, but pretty
Yeah,
flexible. Doesn't require any
yeah,
specialty Pila solar panel. It's just a general
yeah,
MPPT input. that
Got it.
that can recharge that battery. Because
Yeah.
our approach here, where we're distributing them through the house, is a bit different than the standard solution, where you've got an MID, like a grid disconnect. It's 200 amps for your whole home, and then an array of batteries that are all hardwired together. Our batteries, because they're at the loads and because they're plugged in, don't have the virtue of being hardwired together with a CAN bus or something like that. So we've developed this, proprietary mesh communication system so that it's not relying on, Wi-Fi and old school IoT stuff that constantly disconnects. And then, because they're distributed, they're all connected through the home wiring, and they all have an
Mhm.
integrated grid disconnect inside of them. So in an outage, each room is kind of its own nano grid.
Right. And how about during charging? Is it smart enough to stop charging one battery and load up the other because fridge has priority over other appliances and so on and so forth?
You've got it. Yep. All,
Yeah.
all of those kind of things that you would expect. It operates as one system,
Yeah.
and it has awareness of, hey, fridge is more important than, my
Yeah.
TV in my den.
Right.
But we can use both of them to kind of soak up excess solar if you have it, or cheap
Right.
grid electricity if you're on a TOU rate, as well
Yeah.
as dispatch that, stored energy intelligently to offset high peak prices, to
Yeah.
respond to grid signals and demand response programs that you can get compensated for.
Yeah. So this whole software and intelligence layer is, I guess, what also differentiates it further from the EcoFlows and the Bluettis and the Jackeries of the world.
Yeah, I mean, you can go buy a camping battery on Amazon. You can buy an APC UPS, right? And you could in theory plug 10 of these in around your house, but they
Yeah.
have no awareness of each other. They have no awareness of your home solar, of your grid,
Yeah.
your utility rates, and they're not going to paint any kind of holistic picture. Plus, you've got extension cords running around your house and a bunch of power tool looking devices to trip over.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of design and the software experience that
Got it.
allows us to create a whole home, uh, sort of energy picture with distributed batteries throughout the space.
Yeah. Got it. So I guess the first uh, feature that people like this is for the backup, the resilience angle. But then there's also the ability to optimize your electron flow in the house, maybe make some money on like VPP programs or things like that. I don't know if that's going to be available at the first version of the product, but that sounds just living in California where apartment building rates are 40 to 50 cents per kilowatt hour nowadays, but in the same building where EV charger rates are 10 to 20 cents, I
Right.
just know the difference of that, like the arbitrage value between different electrons that you
Yeah,
get
and
from
for
different systems. Yeah,
exactly what you're describing, and folks who have worked in this space, I would imagine have experienced the same thing I have when talking to
yeah,
customers. Often it's this idea of resilience or self-sufficiency or energy security or whatever you want to call it that
yeah,
sets the hook. Maybe people
yeah,
recently went through an outage and they're thinking about ways to solve it and getting interested in solar and batteries. Even at Span, our early customers were really motivated by using Span as a virtual critical loads panel so that they could shift their, scarce resource, their stored power wall energy during the outage to different loads and extend their backup time. So often it is that kind of energy security piece that people start with, which is why we've focused so much attention on making that the best possible experience that it can
yeah,
be, which
yeah,
is, again, making it easy to get, but also all of this data, like the fridge temperature piece as part of your outage experience, having that ultra peace of mind. But the best thing about the software on these systems, as you alluded to, is that they can do things for you 24/7, 365. It's not just about waiting for the outage and then, hey, your insurance policy kicks in. It's about something that's optimizing energy throughout the year and saving you money, and putting you in the driver's seat to kind of control how your energy is used, paint a picture of what's going on, and then automate away, the wastefulness by
yeah.
shifting energy to when it's cheaper.
Great. So on that, I'm just gonna do a quick screen share because I really love your website and I want this in to be in part of the video of our recording. And I mean, look at these like these look slick and beautiful. So I guess my next question to you is, are these selling? When are they coming out to the market? How are you going to market? What's your go-to-market strategy here?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's those are my
So we'll be
questions.
shipping
Yeah,
later this year is the short
yeah,
answer.
yeah,
Folks can put in a pre-order, $99 refundable reservation to get on that first list of orders. And I can tell you,
yeah,
we've got incredible demand, across the US, pretty
yeah,
much all states at this point,
yeah,
which has been really, really encouraging. We're also working with partners, so like
yeah,
one advantage of our system is, of course, that it works with solar systems. So for
yeah.
customers that may have gotten solar, but they didn't opt for storage, which is 90% of
Yeah,
residential solar customers in the US, this is a
yeah,
great way to go layer in that resiliency without having to, pull new permits and
yeah,
screw with that solar system and lose your grandfathered in, prior rate or anything like that. But also for new customers, right? Pila
yeah,
is it's not about do you want Powerwall or Pila. Oftentimes they can go together. We've had a lot of
yeah,
customers that have said, I've got one Powerwall and I want to, get more capacity because I've gone through an outage and I've kind of seen how long it lasts. We've also got
mhm,
customers that have generators and, add Pila. So we think of
yeah,
it as complementary. And we think of
mhm,
it as a way to access more of the market that hasn't historically been able to get this technology, either because they rent, they live in a condo or a multi-tenant space, they've got an
yeah,
HOA. Because it's just plug in and you can take it with you, it doesn't
yeah,
require interconnections and permits and the kind of usual challenges that have really slowed adoption.
yeah. And how will people be able to buy this? And what price point? And like, will they buy it from their solar installer or from the utility, um,
The
directly from
easiest
your
easiest
website?
way to buy is just right off of our website. So
Website, yeah,
that's available today. But then, yeah,
yeah,
as I mentioned, the exciting thing about this product is it's merging this world of something that's almost kind of consumer-like, but under the hood, we've built this as an industrial grade solution. I mean,
yeah,
each battery has a cell connection. Each battery's 10-year cycle life. Each
yeah,
battery has revenue accurate metering. All of these things that have become status quo in the whole home battery space, we've baked into our product just in a miniaturized size. And for that
yeah,
reason, utilities, solar installers, and other energy channels are signing on as partners as well.
yeah.
So
And the
it's
cool
kind of
thing
all.
is you don't need a permit to put this in, right? That's
Yeah, that's
permitless,
right. And today, the reason that's true is we're not exporting power to the grid with this solution,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Because we're at the
yeah,
load, we can use the battery to offset the load. Now, like adept, viewers here will know about the kind of balcony solar trend and how what's
sure.
happening in Europe, UK, and in Germany is starting to find its way into conversations in the US with
Yeah,
Utah's House Bill 340. And,
yeah,
we're ready for that world as well. Like just like any modern EV, our power system is capable of going in both directions. But
yeah,
we've worked in this industry long enough to know that you don't want to go out and uh, do things before the sort of codes and standards are ready for them. So we're
yeah,
we're pushing forward, those conversations. But out of the gate, power only flows in one direction from the outlet through our device to the load. And for that reason, there's no interconnection permit kind of thing required.
yeah. Let's also talk about the price, the manufacturing, how it's happening, like, and yeah, let's touch on that a little bit if that's okay. So it's
Absolutely, yeah.
1.6 kilowatt hour
Mhm.
battery. If it's priced like $1,000 a kilowatt hour, which many products are still in the market, that would be $1,699. But I think your price is a little lower than that.
Yeah, our price is 12.99 for the 1.6 kilowatt
Yeah,
hour unit, which, let's also talk about this in terms of dollar per kilowatt hour installed, because that's ultimately what, customers are paying. And
yeah,
absolutely, when you factor in, the average like Powerwall, uh $15,000 would be a deal, in most markets. More often it's closer to 20,000 all in
installed. Yeah, yeah,
installed, that's
yeah,
pretty expensive. We actually come in at like 30% cheaper on a dollar per kilowatt hour installed basis, which I think
Yeah.
is a useful
Yeah.
number. We don't go out and like sell with that because
Sure.
we
Yeah.
see these as like complementary systems. They have
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
values, different pros and cons. But on like a pure dollars per kilowatt hour installed, we're cheaper.
Yeah.
But I think for
You're in the
more,
70 cents or $700 per kilowatt hour range right now, which is, yeah, competitive to most solar plus storage installations.
and more
Um,
than that, it's the entry cost, like
right.
speaking to so many customers, and it's just the sticker price. And like, sure, you can finance it, but who wants to take out another loan or lease? It's
Yeah.
complicated, and
Yeah.
let's not forget the time, right? Which often doesn't get talked about here. Like
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
from, contractor vetting to, permission to operate can be a months long process. And it's getting better. And like, I have so much respect for solar and storage as an industry on the installer side,
Yeah.
but they're
Sure.
facing, a lot of uphill battles with their AHJs and the rest. And for customers
Sure.
that need a solution today and are considering generators, versus battery systems, we think there's no reason that we shouldn't have solutions that can kind of compete with generators on ease and speed of deployment to kind of complement these larger fixed upgrades that also need to continue to happen.
Yeah. And yeah, and these prices will obviously go down as industry scales and you guys scale and maybe yeah, as you build your factories, building these things and so on and so forth.
That's how it goes.
Where is the manufacturing happening right now, um, and how do you see that evolving over the next years?
Yeah, we've got a few manufacturing facilities that we're spinning up, which is a result of, all the crazy tariffs and the rest. And the nice thing about being at this early stage is we've got quite a bit of flexibility.
Right.
The product itself is relatively, simple to manufacture. It's not some complicated process. We're using, industry standard cells and components and the rest. Um, so, that's the short answer there. I think
Yeah.
we're excited about the opportunity to bring some more manufacturing into the States. There's a lot of reason to be excited there. But the reality today is we need batteries on the grid, and most batteries aren't made in the U.S. today, except for niche aerospace. So with that, we have a pretty pragmatic mindset of our North Star is safety, quality, a cell that can cycle for 10 years and meets every single UL bar that it needs to clear.
Yeah.
So we're working with excellent manufacturers on that side, and then the kind of custom power electronics and energy management system and compute side, we've developed as well.
Got it. So, great for all this insight into Pila. What's next? What does Pila need for the next few quarters? What's on the horizon? What do you see happening?
Yeah, so this is just the start. We've launched this
Yeah.
flagship product that's 1.6 kilowatt hours. We have this vision of batteries distributed everywhere in our buildings, and we're not just talking single family residential homes. We're talking 500 unit skyscraper multi-tenant buildings. We're talking commercial properties and the rest. The beauty of having this node that's a small sleek battery, the energy management piece, and the onboard compute and brain is that it can kind of scale up indefinitely, right, into the hundreds of units per site, which starts to
Yeah.
look more like commercial scale storage.
Right.
So we're looking across residential and commercial. Right now, our biggest motivator is getting the product out. So we're going through, the same rigorous reliability and UL testing that we did at Tesla and Span to make sure the product is ready for that scale and of course safe in every environment. And then it's a deploy kind of thing for us. So we're
Nice.
having, you know, so many partner conversations, every week here. And I think specifically for this audience in the energy contractor space, we'd love to chat. If this sounds like a solution for your customers, reach out. We're easy to get a hold of, and we really want to hear from, we want to hear from potential customers. We're finding new applications kind of every day for this technology.
Right. Cole Ashman of Pila Energy, thank you so much for sharing all this insight into your great new startup that is doing some amazing things for the
Thank
industry.
you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right.